Hi everybody, welcome back to Mike's How To. Today what we're going to be doing is show you how to replace your Truth crank out hardware on a casement window. So if you look down here, what you can see is basically I unlock the window and bam, nothing happens. So what happens is the bottom of these break out. I'll show you once I get into it, and it obviously doesn't operate the window anymore. So first thing you got to do, obviously, remove the screen. What I always do is push on the screen to kind of break the paint seal a little bit, pull the screen out like that. I don't have my shoes on because, you know, I'm in someone's house today replacing a window crank. So anyway, a couple of tools that I usually use. You got a cord, your screw gun, a longer screwdriver, a knife, a flat bar, a compressor if you have one with a nail gun to put this stuff back together. I do have the new hardware here. As you can see, this is the new piece. I'm going to explain a little bit about this because this can get a little tricky at times on ordering, but I'll show you how this is done. So anyway, I'm going to put this aside. So basically what you have to do when you start doing this kind of thing is there's a little seal underneath here. This is basically, this wooden piece is hollow underneath, and that's where the pieces are shot together. So what I always, you have to cut if you have a paint type of situation. What I always do is just take my knife down here like this, and I cut away because it's caulked, because it's painted. If you have like an oak one or a pine window that's stained, this, you know, you might not have to do this totally on the bottom because those usually aren't caulked. Those are just oak cap on there, so that might not happen. You might have to go past it a couple of times to really crack through that caulk to get this stuff loose. Up the side of fuzz. You know, again, you're trying to cut that caulk away to get this thing to come out a little easier. It's not the easiest thing to break loose, and I'll show you that, explain that shortly. Okay, so now we're going to try and get this window open. Basically, once you get it to a certain point, it does crank open, okay? So underneath, so now what we have to do is, this is the whole entire mechanism that has to be replaced. So what I usually do is I try and get a flat bar underneath here, and you have to be gentle because this is a, you can hear how it wants to crack because it's a very thin piece of wood and it is hollow underneath. So what I'm going to try and do is get this thing cracked loose because it's also nailed down. There's shots in here, there's big staples that hold it in place. So what I'm going to try and do, get this loose. I'll come back to it. Here again, another way, a lot of times the bigger flat bar, if you do pry from behind, what happens, because this is just a piece of clear pine, which is pretty soft and kind of brittle, it kind of starts to crack a little. If you start to hear that, another way to do it is get a little flat bar, like here, my trusty little flat bar, and you get kind of wedged underneath here, because as you can see, if you can get that camera down here for me, you can kind of see the staples inside here. Get it all the way down here, and you can see those staples where it's stapled in there. That's what you're trying to crack loose or at least pull through. So once I kind of get it underneath here and pry it and break it loose, you know you're in kind of good shape. Sometimes you'll put some divots in here, but you know, it's just unavoidable. You know, there's not a whole lot you can do, but you can see as I pry it away and lift up on it, you want to lift, you know, kind of all together a little bit on each side so you don't, again, break this, because you can replace these, but it kind of sucks. But you can kind of see how it pulls through. You know, that's so you can see how it's hollow underneath, and that's where all the hardware, you know, folds into once this thing, you know, this cap piece is in place. So what I then do is I'll get a pair of snips or a pair of Kleins or linesmans, or you can just break these off. If you just keep bending them back and forth like this, they just snap off, you know what I mean? And you can just kind of break them. So I'll get back to that part. Let me get that, and then I'll show you a little bit more. So I got all the staples out there. I just kind of bent them out. I didn't go bother getting a tool for that. So anyway, what you do here is on this Truth hardware, you can see there's a number stamped in here. You can see a number stamped in there, and it's 31850 on this. So you can see it right there. So, and then you, of course, the name Truth here. So what you do here is you pop this out. Now there's just like a little spring clip in here that holds this in place. So you pop that out. So now the arm and all the armature is away. So I just use my screw gun. There's six screws in this one. Some of them there might be 4. A lot of this hardware is different. I'm going to go over that with you. So easy as that. So you take that out, and that just pulls right out. So then you take your new hardware, go along here like this. I pre-ordered my stuff, so it took a couple days to get it, so I already have it. So then you just take the new hardware, all the holes are already drilled. Put this stuff in. You could also do this with a screwdriver if you don't have a screw gun. It works just as easy. Just faster this way, and that's why I have this crap. Okay, so you go like that, and you kind of crank this, you know, the handle as you go, and line it up underneath here. You can see how it lines up. Here, swing the camera down for me. Down here, like this. You can see how it lines up right there, and you just take this, snap it in place, and you put the handle on like so, and you're all done. She works again. So anyways, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the cap and put that back on. So basically, you know, I pulled the staples out, I cleaned it all up for the folks, you know, got all the bugs and everything out of there. So now it's basically just a matter of kind of clipping it back in. Ain't like we have to cut anything. It fit there before it came out, so it's going to go back in. So here's the part. Obviously, I always wear safety glasses when I use a nail gun. This is my Boss Stitch gun. I have 2-inch nails inside there, brad nails, which are 18 gauge. So what you want to do is, obviously, you want to keep it away from where the armature has to go back underneath this thing. So what I do is try and keep it, this is where the screen sits, is in here. So this one, I try and just shoot a nail there, keep it away from all this, hold it down pretty well. And then shoot about 4 nails in it. Not a crazy amount. They pretty much stay to the back side when you shoot it in the screen channel there, so you're in good shape. So I can take my glasses off now. So next thing I do, since this is all white here and you can kind of see where this was, so what I did is I grab my caulk gun. I just have some painter's caulk in here, which it usually blends pretty well so that the homeowner doesn't have to really do any painting. So I just do is put a small bead in there like that. I like to smear it with my finger. It usually makes it a little bit nicer, and then you almost can't even tell I did anything. So wipe the excess on a piece of cloth like that, or my paper towel. And here I do the same thing. Go like that. Wipe my finger. So you spread the bead in there, that way it rounds it out real nice, and you can't even tell I did a thing. So if you want, you can also take a little bit of caulk and dab it in the heads of the nail holes. It gets a little bit, you know, you're smearing a little bit, so I'll show you. So go like that. Take a little paper towel. These are shop towels, that's all I had with me today, so go like that, that. Caulk will dry real nice in there. Bam! Okay, so so the biggest thing with this stuff is the hardware, the operating mechanism, okay? So as you can see, there is a number on there. This is 31850, which is the one that replaced this one in this house. Now there is always different hardware, okay? There's always different measurements, all right? This one is like 3 inches here. You can see that there's 8 holes in here for screws. This is called a split arm operator. So there's some that are solid arms, so this arm is solid. Some of them are longer, some of them are shorter. This part is longer on some of them are shorter. So what I recommend is on this guy's website, I'm gonna give you, he actually gives these numbers on there, which is very helpful. So, but definitely look into your measurements of these arms. Be real careful, because some people show you center points, some people show you outside points. So you have to be careful what you order, so you order the right one. So definitely do your homework on it, make sure about it. This guy's website is RBA and Associates. I found him online. He's actually out of Michigan. He's pretty helpful, pretty affordable. The shipping's a little expensive, but you know, for the most part, anywhere you get anything from, you either free shipping and it's higher, or you're paying shipping and the price is lower. But again, I can't stress enough to just make sure that all your measurements are on for everything you do. And sometimes it requires going to other websites And they give you actually a little bit clearer measurements, and then maybe coming through, and once you get a model number, then hunting it down and finding it. Some of the hardware comes in brass. Like as you can see, I couldn't replace this one in brass. This one was brass. That's the closest I could get is the gold tone, but they don't care here. They just wanted it fixed. So other than that, being careful with what you order. You know, it's not a very difficult fix. The biggest thing is getting the right armature for it, split arm, solid arm, and making sure you get all the parts you need. So with that being said, be careful with that. And again, this is another episode of Mike's How To. I hope you learned something. Hope you tried it yourself. And good luck. Bam.